current with ESPN News.
When ESPN The Magazine first hit newsstands in 1998, the home run was king and baseball was making a comeback. Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were rewriting the record book. 2 summers later, Marion+Jones was on top of the world at the Sydney Olympics. Throughout sports, athletes' bodies were getting bigger and bigger, and careers were lasting longer and longer. But a raid on the Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative in September of 2003 would rattle the landscape of sport and serve as a touchstone moment in what has become known to many as the steroids era. BALCO founder Victor Conte discussed the aftershocks of the raid in the December 2004 issue, aftershocks that are still being felt to this day, as we visit him again.
The last 15 years, let's say, is just totally tainted because there's just been a rampant use of all sorts of performance-enhancing drugs.
Giant slugger Barry+Bonds, reportedly one of more than 3 dozen professional Olympic-class athletes, is subpoenaed by a federal grand jury investigating a San Francisco area nutritionalist.
I believe that BALCO served a purpose. It was really the epicenter where it really all started. The suspicion level pre-BALCO was very low. I think that particular day, the world of sport changed forever.
For more than a decade, Victor Conte stayed on the sidelines of the steroids game. He was nutritionist to elite athletes. He had no idea he would become the face of a drug and sports scandal.
I was aware that many of the athletes I was working with were using performance-enhancing substances. I just didn't get involved in that aspect of their preparation. And then I realized that BALCO was a clinical laboratory and we had the ability to assess other things that would be very important to monitor. And I just decided if you can't beat them, then that I would join them. It's a decision that I have a lot of regrets about. There's no one for me to blame. I have a sense of accountability and responsibility for everything that I did wrong.
In July of 2005, Conte pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute steroids. After serving 4 months in prison, he's tried to recast himself as an opponent to performance-enhancing drugs.
My name is synonymous with performance enhancement, and there's nothing that I can do about that other than to try to take the high road and bring about greater awareness. I met with the United States anti-doping officials. I went over 3,000 pages of documents with them and was honest and truthful and did everything I could to explain to them ways that they could improve the testing program. The ineptness of the testing programs and policies and procedures makes a contribution to these athletes' decision to use drugs because they see how easy it is for their competitors to do. And can it be changed? Absolutely. For example, in Major League Baseball, the first thing I would do is increase the number of tests during the season and then mandate at least 2 random off-season tests. It doesn't take that long to take the time out of your day to pee in a container.
The BALCO scandal tainted some of sport's biggest achievements of the past decade. Barry+Bonds has been indicted by a federal grand jury on perjury and obstruction of justice charges. And Marion+Jones, winner of 5 Olympic medals in 2000, has been sentenced to 6 months in prison for lying to federal investigators.
I have never, ever used performance-enhancing drugs, and that I have accomplished what I have accomplished because of my God-given abilities and hard work.
I had sat right next to her and watched her inject growth hormone, so I knew differently. But it was an Academy Award-winning performance.
In October of 2007, Jones's story changed.
And so it is with a great amount of shame that I stand before you and tell you that I have betrayed your trust.
They took back all the medals. Everything she worked so hard to achieve for her entire career is all gone.
I'm retiring from the sport of track and field, a sport which I deeply love.
I believe that we live in a performance-enhanced society, and people need to acknowledge this and realize that the players are a part of this culture. If you're attempting through surgical procedures to enhance your look to get a better spouse, is that cheating? If you're trying to stay on task and taking Prozac to enhance your productivity at work, is that cheating? If you're attempting to turn yourself from a dud into a stud by using Viagra, is that cheating? So I think there's a larger context that people need to look at.